Warning, this video is not based on fact and is more of a theory/rant than anything else. Watch at your own risk. Enjoy. This video will not leave my head, or rather the thoughts of it will not leave my head, so forgive me. I just gotta get this out of there so it can get on one common page. And keep in mind I am making a huge leap between this and this. It's gonna make sense, but bear with me. So with that in mind, here's a rant of the day. I propose that Bronies are, or were, if you're watching this at a later date, a modern-day Templar sect. Okay, full disclosure, I'm a fan of the show too. You can call me a Brony. Although I am a moderate one at that, and I am able to at least laugh at myself and see the fandom perhaps in a different way. That might seem a bit cultish, but fun nonetheless. Now, you've all heard of the Templars. It's difficult to go through life or history class or anything in school or a little bit outside of it that doesn't reference their name or what they've done, which attests to the legacy of the group. My personal, real, true exposure to it was in a game on the PS2 called Knights of the Temple. To this day, I have yet to beat that game. It's an awesome game, but yet to beat it. The Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, commonly known as the Knights Templar, Order of the Temple, or just the Templars, were a quite wealthy and powerful Western Christian military group. They existed for nearly 2 centuries in the Middle Ages, were officially endorsed by the Catholic Church in 1129, and became the favored group amongst the Christendom and grew quite rapidly in their numbers and their influence. You would know them for their role in the Crusades, which is a whole different story, and I'm not getting into that. But I am more focused on the structure of the actual group of the Templars rather than anything else. There was a master of the order for each part of the country that had influence of the Templars, and there was a Grand Master that oversaw all of it. He oversaw the eastern portion with the military strategy and the western business portion involving all the finances and the fun of that. This does not apply to Bronies, unless you have a group that has a Grand Master, in which case that's a thing somewhere. In any case, I'm focusing more or less on the fact that 1, there was a structure of hierarchy, and 2, the fact that they did things in the name of God. Let me pause here and say that in the MLP show, of course, Celestia is, for all intents and purposes, the god of the entire show and the land therein of Equestria. She is actually a Grand Master in a sense that if we're taking the entire ponydom as a, order, she's the Grand Master. The role is appointed for life, and she has eternal life, so you can't overthrow that Grand Master. And she, like the real Grand Masters, she would send visitors or appointed knights to different locations to settle disputes and check on things and exercise their power. However, not in the sense of actual knights, rather she'll send her favorite student, or an on-hand princess, or a captain of the guard. She moves in mysterious ways and really doesn't actually do much visiting and fighting herself, but Bronies themselves have no leaders or people like captains of the group. I mean, there are certain individuals within the fandom that have risen to a certain status that has them. Like Sergeant, what was it? What do I have down here? Sergeant Mandopony or Captain Tombstone the Ever-Living. People like them. They would be the ones who would be your captains. I'm pretty sure they would lead the charge in battle if there were ever to be a Brony battle. And one more note about their Celestia god, she is a little more than that. She's more like an interesting scion, or an avatar, for the show's creator, Lauren Faust. Yes, there is a Fausticorn. I'm well aware of that. But I'm focusing more on Celestia's particular meaning in that regard. Think about it, when you first saw this alicorn, what did you think? Because personally, I thought, oh, this is the ruler, this is your queen. Okay, later I find, but okay, princess. But the point is that she is the top pony of the show. I mean, I didn't know who Lauren Faust was, but I would assume that the head of the show is the head of the show. I mean, that's just how I saw it. And even after Lauren Faust has moved to different projects, Celestia still stands behind as sort of a wait for unspoken words. We know she's not doing the project anymore, at least directly, but in a way Celestia is a representation of her words, past, present, and future, and what she could be saying by watching over the ponies even in her absence. Not too much reading into it? Maybe, I don't know. The reminder that the creator, the god, still watches over her people. And then back to the Bronies as Templars metaphor. The Templars have done many things in the name of God, yes. But the Bronies, as Templars that I am comparing them to, have spread a message of love, tolerance, friendship, and some other things, to many different fandoms, and many different people, via the vehicle of YouTube, message forums, and whatever it is that people use to spread messages nowadays. And to be fair, that's historically accurate for some of those crusade parts. That being said, Templars had their run, and so were the Bronies in the sense of the downfall, though not quite as dramatic as the Templars. In summary, the Templars in the mid-12th century saw a turning in the Crusades. The Knights Templar were constantly at odds with two other Christian military groups. I am going to butcher these names: the Knights Hospitaller and the Teutonic Knights. And decades of feuds weakened the Christian position politically and militarily, and eventually the Templars were, after some unsuccessful campaigns, had to withdraw their footholds into the mainland and eventually lost those too. But you couldn't get rid of them in the sense of public life and everything else. The Templars were so ingrained in the Christendom and the local life that the networks that they created spread very far, even things like local management of shops and in the banking system. So you couldn't really go very far. You couldn't get rid of something that's already grown into your economy. And thus, back to the Bronies again, the same principle applies. The Bronies were like the Templars in the sense that they were already fans of other series, we know this for a fact. But the networks the Bronies have made are already spread deep as it is, intertwining with the other fandoms. You can't get rid of them. And after they unofficially fade within about a year or so, maybe give or take a couple months, I believe that is where I have the biggest hope. By the way, may I mention something? I am heavily thankful for every single person I have met through this fandom so far, everything I've done with them, and personally, I don't intend to be getting rid of my OC anytime soon. Say hi. Hi. So, expect to see him in some other videos I put up. Actually, I should get back on my rant now. The Broniedom will eventually unofficially fade away from one semi-coherent group into its several subcultures on its various social media websites and whatever. And that is what I'm sort of looking forward to. Because the fandoms that they go into and the Bronies themselves will grow and evolve along with these lessons that they have learned from the show and possibly make one unified, truly understanding world of fandoms. Although to be fair, that notion's probably more far-fetched than this entire video. Anyway, that's my 2 bits. I look forward to some interesting comments down below. And in the meantime, I will have some more live action stuff up soon, so bear with me. This is a small break and I'm gonna get back right to it right now. So, thank you for your time and I'll see you later. Bye!